You're wondering now what to do. Now you know this is the end. You're wondering now what to do. Now you know this is the end.
Out of bed at 8 a.m. Out my head by 10:30. Out with mates and dates and friends. That's what I do at weekends. I can't talk and I can't walk, but I know where I'm going to go. I'm going to watch my money go at the Locarno, no. When my feet go through the door, I know what my right arm is for. Buy a drink and pull a chair up to the edge of the dance floor.
boys in town.
James Bond, the killer. Killer.
This is ska. Ska. This is ska. This is ska. This is ska. This is ska. Ska. This is ska. This is ska. This is ska. Ska. This is ska. This is ska.
Rude boy ska.
Ska. This is ska. This is ska.
Hey.
Ska.
The authentic sound of now. Yeah.
Ska. Ska. This is ska. 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 This
Rude
is
boy
ska.
ska.
This is ska. This is ska. Ska. This is ska. This is ska. This is ska. Ska. This is ska. 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 This is ska. Ska. This is ska. This is ska.
The sound of now. Kick your legs so high.
Ska.
It's time for dancing.
Ska. Ska. This is ska.
Original.
This is ska. This is ska. Ska.
Yeah.
This is ska.
Make you dance.
This is ska.
Lonzy and Buster Shuffle.
Ska. This is ska. Ska.
Rude.
This is ska. Ska.
East to west.
Ska.
Sky for birds.
Ska. This is ska. Ska.
Rude boy ska. You know.
This is ska. This is ska.
100 years.
Hey you, watch this. Rhythm, come forward. Full stop, till I get full stop. Full stop, till I get full stop. My name is ranking full stop, so I
too big. I said I like your two-tone clothes. She said I like your broken nose. I bought her lots of drinks that night. She bought me nothing but a fight. And said I wasn't Mr. Right. It's over, it's over, it's over. It was a skinhead love affair. You know a skinhead love affair. I took her down the last resort. She stole a shirt, I went to school. She said she'd always stand by me, even when I did DC. I thought about her every day, like others do when they're away. She never came to visit me. It's over, it's over, it's over. It was a skinhead love affair. You know a skinhead love affair. was wrong. Lorraine, she was a flipping con. Lorraine, she took everything, even my brand new engagement. She took the car and went to town. But now she get a little bit down.
Lorraine punched me on the nose, so I slapped her around the head. Then we talked the whole thing out.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here today in support of Lorraine and her family. I know it will mean so much to them to see how much Steve was thought of. Some people are born into this world to make others' lives easier, happier, and with no hidden agenda to put themselves first. They came into this life and touched so many people with their kindness and generosity, not looking to be rich in wealth, but to enrich the lives of those around them. That was Steve Cook. There is so much to share about Steve, but we are limited by time. That he is gone, or you can smile because he has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see him, or you can be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him and only that he is gone, or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what he would want, smile, open your eyes, love and go on. Our celebration of Steve's life starts on the 19th of November 1962. He was born and raised in Gloucester Road on the King's Farm estate. Later, in his early adulthood, he moved to various places in and around the estate, but was always drawn back to Gloucester Road because of all of his happy childhood memories and to be closer to his parents, especially his beloved mum. Following their dad's footsteps, and just 13 doors up the road, is where all of 5 Steve's children also grew up. Steve was a big brother to Paddy and Mark. He was the firstborn to Dad Bill and Mum Edna. According to Mark, Steve was always Mummy's blue-eyed boy. Steve went to King's Farm Primary School, and this is where he formed some lifelong friendships, but forged a brotherly bond with Gary Ayres. Steve then went on to Southfield School. Steve was fairly good at school, but was also a bit of a scrapper. Not sure how those two things go together, but Dad said it so it must be true. Mark said it certainly made his life easier when he went to school, as they all knew that he was Steve's little brother. Even back as far as primary school, Steve was an avid football fan, both playing and watching. Unfortunately, his football career ended abruptly when he broke his leg. Much to his dad and brother's disgust, Steve had been a lifelong Chelsea fan. As well as watching the matches on TV, he loved going to the live games. And luckily, he knew a man who could get tickets for all the FA Cup matches, so he would go to Wembley as and when the tickets were available. Like most young men, Steve was keen to learn a trade and earn a wage when he left school. He started off with Gravesham Council as a concrete finisher. He was also one of the team who helped build Blue Water. But to anyone who would listen, he built Blue Water. Steve was talented, and he would try his hand at almost anything. He was jack of all trades. Although hard-working, getting anything finished around the house, he would have to be chased. Over the years, he worked for a few companies doing groundworks, including with O'Rourke's, but the job that was perhaps his favourite job was as the groundsman at the AEI, which he has done for the past 20 years. Eventually, as well as looking after the grounds, he became the club steward, leaving in 2010. After the AEI, Steve went back to labouring for a construction company. At just 21, Steve had his first baby, Bobby Ann, born in May 1984, followed by Pee-wee in March 1986. As the relationship broke down, Steve was fortunate enough to have the fantastic support from his mum and dad. Both Bobby Ann and Pee-wee often stayed with their nan and granddad. Their early memories with Dad was living in Palmer Avenue, collecting chicken and duck eggs from the garden. Steve never did learn to drive, but for some unknown reason, there was a car in the back garden. simply perfect for the kids to play in. Not sure Steve's love of bonfires was such a good idea right beside the car though, but as he always said, I have a hose pipe. Once Steve was painting and decorating the dining room when both Bobs and Pee-wee woke up the next morning and decided to give their dad a helping hand as he was sleeping. When Steve woke up and came downstairs, to his horror, the dining room walls still actually looked the same as the day before, but the kids were caked in paint. Needless to say, Bobs and Pee-wee were squeaky clean after being scrubbed with a scouring pad for half an hour. Steve was loved by all and was a well-known man. He had many friends. A particularly important person in Steve's life is Gary Ayres. Their friendship, brotherhood, goes back to 1967, and here is what Gary wrote about Steve. You will remain a part of me for the rest of my days. The bond we had was like no other. I love you like a brother and will always class your family as my own. We had done more together than most, some good, some bad. All the things we said we would do together in the next chapter of our lives, I now have to do alone. Love you, Steve. Sleep tight, my brother. In 1988, during the Christmas period, Steve was playing pool in his local, the White Hill Tavern. He noticed a beautiful young woman standing at the bar. He suddenly decided to get around in, and as he did so, he could not resist the opportunity to chat Lorraine up with, do you want a drink? That night, their lives changed forever, and they became inseparable. As Steve already had young children, their dates were often shared babysitting until March the 3rd, 1989, where they made their relationship official, and the babysitting became family time. When Steve and Lorraine did have dates, Edna and Bill would always jump at the chance to give them a night off. From the very beginning, Lorraine set boundaries for Steve's two, which was not always easy at the start. Making them have baths every night, how very dare she? Bed by 8 o'clock, and school every day. But after the initial shock of the new rules, and after years of having Dad to themselves, they learned to love her like a mum. Not in any rush to move in together, it wasn't until 6 years later, when Lorraine gave birth to Charlie in May 1995, and the twins, Janae and Harry, in January 1997. The family became complete, and home was in Gloucester Road. Typically, like most dads, Steve was not good with dirty nappies, and it was like he had a sixth sense and was always doing something at that time. Steve adored his children and grandchildren and was always on hand for playing and doing the fun stuff. Eventually, after 15 years of life together, Steve and Lorraine finally tied the knot in Gravesend Registry Office on the 28th of August 2004. It was a real family affair, and all 5 kids were involved. The 2 girls were beautiful bridesmaids, and the boys were dashing in their suits. Steve was a man of the outdoors, and he loved nothing more than to take his children and grandchildren out exploring in the countryside, the city, or the coast, and to share his childhood memories and facts and knowledge to whoever was listening at the time. One of Harry's favourite memories of him and his dad was when his dad took him to work with him up the AEI. Steve had suggested that Harry drives the little red tractor, while he was on the big blue tractor, and they decided to have a little race around the AEI field, obviously with his dad running rings around him, all while laughing at the same time. The race didn't last long when Harry tried to do wheelies in the little tractor on his dad's beloved grass, and it's fair to say this was the first and last time that Harry was ever allowed to drive the tractor. Once on holiday in Whitstable, Lorraine, Steve, Pee-wee, Lauren and the grandchildren decided to take a walk from Whitstable to Herne Bay. And Pee-wee recalls his feet being so bad they were battered and bleeding, so Pee-wee and his clan had to get the cab, leaving Steve and Lorraine to walk back. Walking around central London, around Chinatown, from one bridge to another, and along the embankment, walking was definitely up there with one of his favourite things to do. Steve was intrigued by wildlife. He loved it, and he loved to watch wildlife programmes. He would share what he had learnt from them with his boys and grandkids. He also loved his dogs, but was petrified of mice. And this would be the only time you could ever freak him out, and his kids knew this. Charlie recalls his funniest memory of when he and his dad were off on a father and son trip, along with friends, to watch the FA Cup final, Portsmouth versus Cardiff. And they were on their way to Wembley. While waiting for a train to come along, one of Steve's friends asked how long the train was going to be. And with that, Steve simply replied, "Probably about 10 carriages." Everyone in the group was cracking up. Steve was a family man, and this was something installed in him and his brothers from their mum and dad, Edna and Bill. Growing up in a home full of love and happiness, family was everything, and Steve carried this legacy on. Sadly, on the 15th of October 2017, his beloved mum passed away, and to say Steve and the rest of the family were heartbroken was an understatement. Steve felt like a piece of him went with his mum on that day, and life was never the same again. Janae's fondest memory of her dad was in September last year. Some of you may know Steve liked his last-minute adventures. On this particular morning, Janae and Albie came downstairs to find Steve on his laptop, searching for last-minute holidays. He had decided that Hastings was the destination. They had a lot of things to pack in the car, including Albie's travel system. And Steve, being a man of many talents, knew exactly how to pack a car, and with everything in its place, they made their way to Hastings, whilst playing El Condor Pasa at least 3 times, if not more, happily singing and tapping away. When they arrived, Steve enjoyed taking Albie for walks, swimming and watching the entertainment. Steve and Lorraine enjoyed taking Albie to the arcades, where both of them would have competitions to see who could win Albie the Peter Rabbit bear first from the grabbing machines. Unfortunately, winning from the grabbing machines wasn't one of Steve's many talents. It was actually one of Lorraine's, as eventually she won the bear and the competition. Steve was well known locally, no surprise there, as he has lived his whole life in and around the same street. He would go out in his front garden to do some gardening, but ended up talking to everyone who walked by. So an hour's work could run into hours, and if it even got finished at all. Who trims their borders with scissors? Steve did. And did his borders look the part? Once they were actually finished. The back garden, however, is another story. Always one to help a friend, do you remember the goats? He even put his goats into his neighbour's garden to help them cut the grass. You could always count on Steve to help you out. He even turned down work just to help his friends out. We all know Steve liked a drink and was a well-loved character around the area, starting off at the White Hill Tavern at a pretty young age. As time went on, he ventured to more of the pubs located around the town. Steve's favourite day was Sundays, or Super Sundays as he'd like to call them, and this was when he would play his dart matches. Another one of Steve's favourite places was the AEI. He had lots of great memories and was part of the furniture there. Not only were Steve and Lorraine husband and wife, they were best friends too. They had a great relationship, lots of tongue-in-cheek moments along with the teasing. They may not have been a romantic pair, but their love for one another was obvious to those that knew them. There was a great respect for one another, and they knew how each other worked. And Steve would never say bye or just put the phone down to his loved ones without saying, "Love ya." Steve was incredibly competitive. He loved a game, whether it be cards in the pub or at home on his laptop, tablet or phone. He would always play games through Lorraine's Facebook, so if you ever got any game requests, you knew where this came from. When playing his games, he was so focused that if you called him during a game of Candy Crush or Golf Clash, you would have been ignored until he had finished. Steve was a sociable man. He had many passions that he was committed to during the week. As the kids became more independent, this allowed for Steve and Lorraine to enjoy some quality time to themselves, enjoying trips to London, watching West End shows, and drives to Eastbourne and the air shows. Christmas in the Cook household was an incredibly special time of year. Each one of them has their own magical memories. It was a tradition for Steve to cook the Christmas dinner, starting with putting the turkey in Christmas Eve night on a slow cook all night long. Everyone was welcome to Steve and Lorraine's Christmas Day, and they loved having everyone at theirs. Unfortunately, the house was bursting at the seams, so they couldn't welcome any more in. For a few good years, all of the family enjoyed many amazing Christmases up at the AEI, where the whole family enjoyed the feast and festivities. Back in the days, the kids never had mobile phones. Instead, they had their dad's whistle. A unique whistle where they would know whether they were wanted, their dinner was ready, or it was time for them to go in. He would only ever need to whistle the once, and the kids would always return home. Each one of Steve's kids had tried to master the famous whistle. Maybe one of the grandchildren will have better luck. As a brother, Steve was the best. Steve absolutely adored his brothers. He loved to laugh and to have a laugh, even if he wasn't always the one to start something. He certainly enjoyed joining in with things. He was protective of all of his family, except if they were choking on a bacon sandwich, as Paddy knows only too well. Steve and Paddy were working on a burger van at a local boot fair. One day Paddy was eating a bacon sandwich and started choking. Steve was laughing so hard, even when Paddy was on the floor turning blue. Paddy did try to pull the piece of bacon out of his mouth, but it snapped in half, so the other half was still stuck in Paddy's throat. Steve was in tears of laughter, but luckily for Paddy, Steve managed to regain some self-control, hit him so hard on the back to dislodge it before Paddy turned an even darker shade of blue. Steve would still laugh about this day all these years later. Pee-wee decided he wanted to play football, and who better to set up a team than his dad? Along with his friend Dean Parker and a teacher from Kings Farm Primary School, Kings Farm Colts Football Club under 11s was founded. Pee-wee recalls they were rubbish players to begin with, but under his dad's guidance, they soon became the team to watch. Steve was enormously proud to be the first manager to win a treble in the first time in 50 years. The club was later renamed to Craggs Farm after switching from Saturday League to Sunday League games. And like all sports, Steve was also good at golf. This was a huge part of his later life, and he loved playing against his younger brother Mark. Both of them hated losing. They played with the old boys from Gravesend, Eddie, Ray, Ron and Steve Lifton, and the old boys from Swaffham, Ralph, Dave, Andy and Chris. Eddie, he had a special place for Eddie, even building a step for him to make it easier for him to get in and out of the golf carts, him being an older fella. But Chris was the reason that Steve nearly got ordered off the golf course. Chris gave Steve a pair of leather golf shoes that he had had for 10 years but had never worn. They were on the Channels golf course in Chelmsford, and as he was walking around the course, they literally fell apart, soles flapping up and down as he walked. The steward told him he could not continue like that and escorted him to the golf shop to buy a new pair, or he would have had to leave. So new shoes purchased, the game continued. The shoes were then lent to Steve's brother Mark at Five Lakes in Malden, where they got soaked, so Mark put them on a radiator. They smoked the room out overnight and shrunk by 2 sizes. Every year there would be golfing holidays, or a golfing break, as Steve and Mark used to call it, often to Swaffham in Norfolk, to Ralph's with Dave, Andy and the Swaffham lads. For most, this means a good excuse for a huge jolly-up. But despite Steve enjoying a drink, normally on these holidays he would be the first one in bed, often by 9 p.m, which was a far cry from the last one to leave the Wheatsheaf or the George in town. With darts, Steve mainly played for the George. He organised the teams. He was very good and he won lots of trophies. But he won so many of them, he would ask the pub to hold on to them until the next time that he came in, and he would just leave them there. Lorraine actually has a loft full of them. And fishing. Fishing was often fishing for eels out at Cuxton and Cliff Lakes, and sea fishing later with Gary every month on a boat off Ramsgate. He has also been known to go rabbiting, often taking Pee-wee with him to Cliff Marsh when he was younger. Steve, Lorraine and all the family loved the Isle of Wight. This was one of the family's favourite holiday destinations. Edna and Bill, Pat and Teresa often joined them. Family time at its best, creating more magical memories. And this is a tribute by Paddy. To Lorraine, Steve was her best friend, her lover, her soulmate and husband. Lorraine has lost her best friend, but because of their love, she has been left with the best of them both, their children and grandchildren. There is no doubt Steve was a special man, a huge part of everyone's life, someone who has left their mark forever etched in everyone's hearts and memories. Each one of us had a unique relationship with Steve, and our memories are equally unique to us. We have spent just a short time talking about Steve and his life. We are going to pause now and play El Condor Pasa by Simon and Garfunkel. Allow yourselves the freedom to smile at the thought of Steve sharing this time with you. Remember his smile and don't be solemn. If seeing Steve's face in your mind's eye brings a smile to yours, then let it. From what I have come to learn about Steve, I am sure he would prefer your smile to your tears.
Yes, I would. If I could, I surely would. I'd rather be a hammer than a nail. Yes, I would. If I only could, I surely would. I'd rather be a forest than a street. Yes, I would. If I could, I surely would. I'd rather feel the earth beneath my feet. Yes, I would. If I only could, I surely would.
Carried on living his life as normal with his family. Steve has been a fighter his whole life, overcoming many obstacles in his way. And on Saturday, the 4th of July 2020, at 11:10 a.m, at just 57 years young, Steve slipped away from this world while in Darren Valley Hospital, knowing he was loved for all that he was and always would be. Steve is already through the barrier and free to another reality to experience whatever joys await him there if we believe there is another reality. But for us, it is important to say this final farewell to his body as we commit it to its natural end. Steve's 5 children, Bobby there to hold their hands in the dark. As the boys grew older and the years went on, our dad was there should his brothers ever need a shoulder to cry upon. Our dad was a granddad to a beautiful girl and 4 handsome boys. All the kids loved being at Nan and Granddad's in their house full of toys. Kenzie, Summer, Bo, Albie and Billy all belly laugh at Granddad when he's acting silly. A doting granddad the kids all love, will find comfort knowing their granddad is now the brightest star up above. Our dad was a son to Edna and Bill. He was always the one who could never sit still. As he got older, he was the bold, outspoken one, unless, of course, he was being told off by his mum. Our dad was no angel, a few stories have been told, but when it came to his family, he always had a heart of gold. Our dad was a husband to a very good wife. She was true to her word when she said marriage was for life. His family of 7 was finally complete. A love like his could never be beat. A forever husband and wife you shall always be. Us 5 will look after her, Dad. Just you watch and see. Our dad has now finished his journey here on earth with us. He's now reunited with his beloved mum, who lives up in heaven above. She would have been stood there with her arms open wide, welcoming her blue-eyed boy right back by her side. In another world, another time, our family will be greater. It's never goodbye, Dad. Just see you later. We all have our own idea about what happens next, but one thing unites us, and that's love. You are all here because you knew, loved, and respected Steve. The journey you shared with him is not erased by his passing. The past will always be just as it was, the memories of which are yours to treasure. Life will never be the same, but we cherish all we were lucky to have experienced with Steve, to have known his love, support, and dedication. And now we say thank you. Thank you for being simply the best husband, father, grandfather, and friend we could have ever asked for. Thank you for everything. Please be upstanding as we say farewell until we meet again. With love and appreciation, we have been remembering the life of Steve and recalling the amazing, funny, special man he was to all who knew him. We are grateful for the life that has been lived and for the part of that life has meant to each one of us. A person lives on for us if they are carried in the hearts of others. What the heart has known, it will never forget. Now say farewell to Steve in that old familiar way you have always said farewell. We commit his body to a resting place and return to his origins. We give thanks for the life we shared with Steve, and we will cherish his memory now and always, with enduring love and respect. We are silent and individually bidding him farewell. Rest in peace, Steve, until we meet